Hello everyone and welcome to Helix Plays Games. My name is Richie and this is CloudQuest, a cloud gaming show where we take a deep dive into one particular topic for the 100th week in a row.
Damn right.
Yeah.
100 episodes, no mean feat in anything, any walk of life, let alone a topical gaming podcast every single week.
Exactly.
Congratulations,
on cloud
Richie.
gaming. Oh, thank you. Congratulations to you as well. It's also your show.
That's true, but this was the first one formerly known as SideQuest that you took the reins of.
I know, this was it. When we came up with the idea, we originally had, that's Mr. Chris, you know him by now. If you don't know him by now, it's like, what have you been doing for the last 100 weeks? Plus, because this show came out of the ashes of the original Sounds of Stadia post show.
Yeah, it was Sounds of Stadia podcast. Then we'll just talk shit after the show, and we'll capture that as well for our audience, just random topics. And then I was like, well, why don't we actually just focus these random topics into SideQuest? And then we thought SideQuest is quite a generic name, so let's evolve that into cloud gaming specifics, CloudQuest. And then where we're at today, SideQuest actually seems like a better name for this show than CloudQuest. But we'll think about that as we go beyond episode 100 and see what the future holds. Yeah, I mean,
it was one of them, like, you mentioned me taking over the reins. It's when we decided to retool, like, the old post show and start SideQuest. It was like, this was a good opportunity for me to step into the host role, which I'm glad I did. I'm sure you're glad I did as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Because I remember in the early episodes, like, I couldn't get through the intro without you and Tom just, like, trying to derail me.
No, not at all.
And now I just get lost in the intros as well. Anyway, but no, it's been a good 100 weeks. Like, let's keep it going. Like,
it's been 100 weeks of I think for many of our viewers and listeners, it's just that option to talk a little bit more in depth about something specific that's not like tangible to the news. So it doesn't have to have happened in the last week. It's just broader subjects that we can really, really focus in on and talk in depth. And that's kind of like today's topic of choice. Like, you guys out there, you can write into the show in our Discord. You can join as a member and get priority questioning for the show, and if you pick up a good relevant topic, we've always said we'll talk about it and cover it. And I guess it's ironic how episode 100 is looking at very timely for the first week of January. Brand new year. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Sit down and talk about the future of essentially what this channel's entire existence is based on, which is cloud gaming first and foremost.
Yeah, so it seemed like a nice fitting thing to do in episode 100, especially as it's the first one of the new year as well. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the next year going to look like in cloud gaming, where things are going to go. And before we get into it, make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon for notifications when all of our great shows go live, such as Talking to PS. Every single Tuesday we break down all the PlayStation news happening for you on YouTube and podcast services. Every single Monday, I need to change them round in the doc. So, XPass, where we break down all the Xbox gaming news. It's just like, it's because I just added it underneath when I wrote the show. Our first looks and live streams, such as Chris is Last of Us Let's Play every single Tuesday, and the upcoming ClickerCast, where we break down everything happening on HBO's The Last of Us TV show. So something a bit different for us for that one.
Kind of similar to this, ironically, reaching 100 episodes. We're about to launch a brand new show, something very, very different, kind of like how this started off.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, we get to sit down, talk about an in-depth subject. It's almost like CloudQuest,
we need to
the application of ClickerCast.
I know you've done a lot of the graphics and stuff. We need to actually pencil in that first episode now. We do. Because it's this year. It's coming. It's very, very soon. 2
weeks.
Yeah, and I think we were going to do one episode before the show starts.
We can do, yeah.
Yeah, to kind of this is what we're going not what this is what we're going to expect from the show kind of thing. And then every week after that will be like a episodic breakdown of what we're seeing, how that links to the shows, and just nerding out over what we're hoping is going to be an amazing TV show.
And if not, we'll nip it in the bud and we'll move on.
Yeah. I don't have any doubts, to be honest, though. I mean, no, I don't think we'd commit to a weekly podcast if it's not even really a podcast because we're doing it live, so we can talk to you guys as well.
Yeah, we want you to be a part of it, just like this show.
Yeah, just like this show. You already mentioned members, little as 99p. Let us know in the comments what you want us to discuss going forward. So, Chris, the future of cloud gaming. I think we need to start by addressing the elephant in the room.
Okay, I've got an elephant in the room to address. Before we get into it, before the Christmas season gets over, I know you said about derailing the show, but between recording our 3 shows this week, I went in the kitchen and it's Christmas. Everyone's got like junk food lying around, snacks, chocolates, stuff like that. I don't like mince pies. Okay.
Okay, I have no idea where you're going with this.
On the table, it's nothing to do with gaming. Just FYI, it's just because it's festive. The Christmas tree
is still
up for the last
time. Stop sending in Chris mince pies.
No, and
what type of mince pies are we talking?
I just like
savoury
normal
ones or the sweet ones.
Sweet mince pies. Like like a normal meat mince pie is fine for me. Yeah. Gravy and such. Right, mince pies. Wife has those with brandy sauce. Absolutely loves them. I hate them. Little dirty raisin things and a little compressed pie thing. Don't
it's not actually made out of mince.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. So, however, I opted to get these ones instead. See these? Yeah. Morrison's the best for, what does it say? It's backwards for me. Billionaire
chocolate tarts.
Not an advert.
Right. Morrison's, if you want to sponsor us.
Not sponsored by Morrison's. Very crazy amount of sugar content.
Everything's red.
By the colour thing. Everything's red except for the one, which is salt.
Healthy stuff.
So I thought, my wife had the mince pies. I had these that I'll tuck into a lovely Billionaire's chocolate tart. Little did I know, in the description, lower down.
Yeah. Well, it's...
focusing on.
Mince pies.
Luxurious, rich mincemeat laid. So you can imagine my face when I bit into these Billionaire's chocolate tarts to find out that's an interesting layer underneath the top layer of chocolate. Straight in the bin. Wife's laughing her head off at me. I hate it. And I have a feeling this is one of them Christmas things. Everyone pretends they like mince pies. I don't think many people do. So I like mince people. Pies.
I don't go nuts over them. Like, I haven't had one this year. I've been offered them, but I haven't accepted.
So talking about mince pies, I just want everyone, forget cloud gaming. Everyone in the comments below.
The future of mince pies
do you agree
abolished them.
That mince pies are overrated?
Yeah.
Or do you not? Maybe you're a staunch defender of mince pies. But
right, I want you, if you're listening to this on Friday, when this episode comes out, we're recording it like the previous, what day is it? New Year's
Eve.
New Year's Eve is Saturday. Like, I'm off work, I've lost track of what actual day of the week it is, because everything is just one long extended day. Mm-hmm. I want everyone to tweet at CyberChris2077 with, either I like mince pies or I do not like mince pies.
I think people are going to be very passionate about this topic, just like they are cloud gaming. I just wanted to get off my chest because they've been staring at me all damn week, and I hate mince pies.
Oh, God. So...
Just saying. Don't
back to the actual topic at hand. The future of cloud gaming, elephant in the room, Google Stadia.
The mince pie of the cloud gaming world.
Yeah. Stadia is still technically a thing at the time of recording, which is why we just need to address it. Do you think Stadia will be part of the future of cloud gaming?
Not for much longer, no. It will be... I hope it will be looked back on as one of the kind of founding fathers of cloud gaming, which got the ball rolling. Yeah, the beta test, if you will, of cloud gaming. And hopefully the technology, which is still, by today's standards, looking at the list of other companies who are in this world, in this industry... For me, Stadia is still hands down best in class for performance. Maybe not game library, maybe not marketing.
Oh, God, nowhere near game library.
But in terms of just sheer game performance on various devices, across various networks, internet, 5G, 4G, Wi-Fi, all that kind of stuff, the best hands down. Unfortunately, it was owned by Google.
Yeah, it's one of them. I think I've seen people say, it's the business model that's wrong. It's like, I completely disagree. I do not think the problem with Stadia was its business model at all. It was the execution of it. Mm-hmm. Because it was that, okay, we have a pro subscription where you get your free games every month, get access to higher fidelity, higher tier features, and then you can also just buy your games a la carte. Mm-hmm. And we're all happy to work with publishers like Ubisoft to get Ubisoft Plus on board. I think that was perfect for me. That is exactly the way I want to. Choice.
Yeah, in a world of subscription models, the opportunity to buy your game or wait for it in the sale, infinitely better than subscribing and hoping it'll stay on the subscription model forever. Yeah,
the problem was purely, for me, just lack of the right titles, and because you didn't have the titles coming, people look at what you're offering in terms of what games, because ultimately it is all comes down to the games. Looks a bit lackluster when you've got PlayStation dropping things like God of War and Last of Us, and Xbox dropping things like Halo, and buying Bethesda, buying Activision Blizzard King, buying Obsidian. Is like what these two other players could do. We're doing compared to Stadia in terms of the games they're bringing. I think that's ultimately just where people just lost interest.
Yep. And as we know, it's like 18th, 19th, some point between those days, midnight, at random o'clock. We don't know. It will be shut down. So if you are out there, go enjoy it while you can. I know lots of people have fell off, I think, and no surprise, because when you know something's definitively going to end, why would you bother putting any of your energy into it? So
I've already kind of emotionally moved on from Stadia very quickly, like, because I have other places to play games. Nothing new's going to come. I think there's only one like kind of thing I want to do is like give it that like last hurrah, one last send off, because no matter what happens going forward, Stadia is always going to be a part of the legacy of Helix Plays Games, which is why we've incorporated the controller design into our logo.
Yep, because no one's going to have any need for the controllers, so why not use it for our channel's logo? But yeah, in terms of the future cloud gaming, as we said, I think it helped create the foundations. It's fell at arguably the first hurdle, but someone will hopefully pick up the flag and drive this industry forward, this kind of fledgling cloud industry that's so young. In the grander scheme of things, like Stadia made it just beyond 3 years, and 3 years is nothing. You couldn't even develop a AAA game in 3 years, which Google clearly learned the hard way when they closed all the studios, which was arguably one of the first big blows. Yeah. But alas, Richie, other companies will step in, other multi-million-dollar companies will step in to take that mantle and hopefully elevate cloud gaming to the next big thing, which for me, the nearest player to Stadia in terms of similarity from both a tech standpoint, the ownership standpoint, and the general direction is Amazon Luna. Yeah,
I was thinking, if you look at cloud gaming as like in terms of console generations, you've got, I think, like pre-Stadia, just as one generation. I think you got the Stadia generation, which is like Stadia Luna, things like we're going to talk about GeForce Now, and I think this is like the first real like mainstream attempt at cloud gaming, and Amazon Luna doing interesting things. What's your thoughts, Chris? The future of Luna.
I think we said it a few weeks ago when we did like this little mini Sounds of Stadia episode for this show, when we kind of caught up a little bit on the news that we'd not covered for a few weeks. And one of our kind of biggest highlights again was Amazon Luna's movement and what they're up to and what they're doing. Because again, the reason they follow for me on the back of Stadia is because they very similar roadmap in terms of big tech company getting into cloud gaming for the first time.
They have the infrastructure, they have the money to do it.
Yep, they've kind of tick all reasonable boxes, other than any other player outside of Apple for me. Like Google, Apple, and Amazon were the big ones who weren't involved in the games industry, who thought, we'll get in on this. Cloud gaming, and from what we've heard from our friends over in the United States, where it's still limited to, after what feels like 3 years now, it's probably only 2, maybe.
I think it's 2, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's out of beta, though.
It runs fine. It plays on a lot of parts similar or equally to Stadia. Yet to test it out for ourselves, caveat. But
yeah, anecdotally, we've heard it's pretty much as good as Stadia in terms of its performance, which puts it above some of the even bigger like gaming industry players in terms of what quality you get. Yep.
And obviously they went with a different model. They went for more of the cable subscription model, which for its sins is still quite good. We look at Xbox Game Pass and say like that does wonderful things. Won't get into the conversation of the games just yet. But then now Stadia's announced their closure, and as time ticks by and Luna still doesn't seemingly move out of the United States, little things have started to creep in to the narrative, which I'm sure as anyone who's over at Amazon Luna will be a little bit concerned. And the biggest thing for me is games that are leaving the subscription service. And to go back to us talking about why Stadia's a la carte model was the best for us, that was because if I bought a game on Stadia on the 19th of November 2019, picked up whatever, Borderlands, Tomb Raider, whatever it might have been, I could still play that until the last day Stadia exists without putting any more money down, without subscribing to Stadia Pro. I could just play that game in its entirety till the very end.
Now,
with Amazon Luna, if I picked up the sub to play a game, and that game is now no longer on the service as of, I don't know, December 31st this month, what do? That's it. I just can't play the game. It's over.
Pretty much.
And that's, as a gamer, that's shit.
I know some people have the same criticism for Game Pass. However, I give the caveat is you have the option to buy a game on Game Pass as well. So you could go, you know what, this game's leaving Game Pass. I really want to play it. I'm like halfway through. I'm not gonna have time to finish. Like, you can just buy the game. I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to double dip, but it's like, you still have that choice. You still have access to it should you wish. Well, with Luna, it's just gone. I feel like, for me, with Luna, I think Stadia's been a bit of a buffer for Luna. Because Stadia felt like a couple of steps ahead because it came out the gate first, and Luna could stay in beta, could stay in the US. Stadia is now fallen, and now Luna's just, I think, now just fully exposed.
Yeah.
And I think now the elements of the video game press, especially, were very, very critical of Stadia. Wouldn't do anything unless it was like negative. I can see them over the next years turning their focus onto Luna and going,
pivoting.
Well, we've give you guys a bit of a chance. When's Dead Space remake coming?
Yeah.
I picked Dead Space remake purely because it's still open.
It's the first kind of like big entry thing.
Yeah.
But when you think about, like, for all its sins, like, Stadia did get FIFA. Literally 2 days before the closure announcement, got this year's version of FIFA. It had bigger titles. It had Resident Evil Village in this last year. It had all the Ubisoft games for the most part. And Luna's still back and forth struggling with getting some of those bigger titles. But back to the game leaving, looking at Game Rant, there was an article that went up this month. Games leaving Amazon Luna December 2022. Just, again, with my Stadia cap on. Fogs, Chorus, SteamWorld Dig, December 8th. Resident Evil 7, Yakuza Like a Dragon. Judgment, December 15th. Moving into December, a bunch of games now. Castlevania Anniversary Collection leaving. Yakuza 0, December 23rd. December 29th, Samurai Warrior 5, Enter the Gungeon, Yooka-Laylee. These are quite some big games that are just leaving the library, and seemingly Amazon haven't addressed why or if they're coming back. And again, as a gamer, if I'd signed up to play these games and the plug's been pulled on them like sporadically a few months later, I'd be a bit annoyed. And it would make me question why I'm using this service when I could just go buy it on PlayStation, Xbox, or whatever, and just have it indefinitely. And then I will never have to worry about it. I can come back to it in 5 years and still play it.
They're not even really bringing their first-party titles, because they do have them. So they're getting into the game and the publishing avenues as well, and development.
Yeah.
But they're not coming to Luna. You'd think that'd be a shoe-in.
So I guess our concern is it destined to follow the same thing where it's not getting big games, it's losing the games it's got, and even though the tech works. I
think this is could be a make or break year for Amazon Luna. I think they need to. Things over the back half of last year seem to be slowing down, or our patience, as we're waiting for them to take the step forward, and they're not doing it. Big step forward for me would be just announcing you're coming to other countries. That would be, how for a long time we talked about Stadia and like Google needing to show that you back it, not Stadia back it, show that Google backs it. I think Luna getting out of the US, get into Canada, get into Europe, get into the UK, get into Australia, taking that step forward would show that Amazon are backing this. They do see a future for this, and they're ready to commit and double down. Because I think there is a gap in the market where Stadia has left. It's not a huge gap, but it was there. Like, people were interested in Stadia for a reason. It didn't deliver on their vision. And I think if we're a year further down the line, Amazon is still not in the UK. I think that is it done.
It's like how, again, we know Amazon are crunching the numbers a little bit with their own staffing and teams and laying people off. So money is, even at companies like this, money is always brought into question.
To get anything off the ground, you have to invest. You have to go for it. And if you kind of
money to make money,
half-arsing it a bit, which is fair, feels like, if not the necessary people working on Luna, but Amazon as a general like thing feels it's a bit half-arsed at this point. They're not the 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and that is one of the problems Stadia had. Google didn't really just take it and just push it forward. But yeah,
absolutely. And again, just to kind of wrap it all up. We said time and time again for Stadia and Luna, respectively, that 3 years, 4 years is not enough to break into this industry. Like, we knew that as just casual gamers who enjoy video games. Like, I know
you need a full generation.
You need a full generation, if not more. Like, we've seen Sega bow out years ago because they couldn't cut it, and it's just crazy to think is how much money these have. Like, surely they can forecast that the investment required, but then also the returns based on the industry's growth year on year.
It comes down to like your market research. Like, how long do we realistically need to make a dent in this industry to carve our own piece of the pie? When you do have Microsoft, you do have Nintendo, and you do have Sony, and you do have Steam. Actually, like, let's bring PC gaming into this. Because you are competing against them. It's like to make your slice of the pie big enough that it would be profitable. It's like, how much investment, how much time? It's not investment. It's not just money. It's time. It's effort. It's continuing pushing this thing. It's like having paying your staff to go out to make the deals and stuff. Like,
yeah. And that was one of the things we've always said is, like, over time the library will get bigger. The tech exists. You've done the hard work. You've made the tech.
It's reputation as well.
Yeah.
Like, Google and Amazon don't have the reputation as part of the gaming industry.
No.
So you have to develop it.
In a decade's time, kids who are literally like little 8 and 9-year-olds now, who are like on the cusp of turning 20, 21 and maybe get a job and spend their own money, they've only ever known Amazon and Google to do gaming. Little dribs and drabs here. They might not be as revered as PlayStation, Microsoft, and Nintendo, but they're in the game. And then it all comes down to, again, like, just cost and ease of access and use and convenience. And that's what Google and Amazon have done so well. And yet, it does just kind of feel like cloud gaming's maybe been knocked back a few years by the closure of Stadia. And then by proxy, is Amazon just questioning it as well? And then if they both bow out, I think cloud gaming's just for the grabs for Xbox to just run away with. But not even put that much investment into it, because why bother?
Yeah, well... Yeah, here's the thing. I think there is a few other players you should mention. I'm not going to really touch on some of the smaller ones like Atomics, Boosteroids, Black Nuts and stuff, because to be perfectly honest, I'm looking at them from an outside point of view and going, you don't have the resources as Google as Amazon.
And they failed. Or failing.
They failed. Like, you don't have the library or the legacy of PlayStation, Nintendo, or Xbox. It's like, yeah, you might form like a small, like, niche indie, small section of the market, and great, that's fine, but I don't think the future of cloud gaming is there. I think the future for me of cloud gaming, when I think about it, is the best, biggest AAA titles being played in the cloud. That's the vision I bought into with Stadia.
Yeah, as a gamer who's tried and tested with physical hardware, the next big dream for me was being able to play them on my phone, play them on my tablet, play them on my PC without having to invest hundreds and hundreds and hundreds every generation or every time my PC gets slow. And then also my phone when I want to go out and about. That's like the goal or the dream. And yet it seems to have stalled. And you're totally right. Like Atomic and Boosteroid and stuff, like, I'm sure they're all doing great work for the scale that they're dealing with. But looking at like Atomic, like, I don't want to play Peaky Blinders Mastermind and Little Big Workshop. No disrespect, but that's not what I'm in gaming for. I'm in it for the top tier stuff.
I think we are being a bit disrespectful by just kind of almost just dismissing them. But that's because they're not providing the service that we want. If they are providing the service you want, more power to you. I hope they do well. I hope they succeed, because I want to see a future of... I think the future of gaming is cloud gaming still. But as you mentioned, I do think Stadia is stalled that. But there is some success stories, actually, like GeForce Now.
Yeah, GeForce Now, I think, is the big outlier of all this. Like, they never came into it and said, we're doing it all ourselves. It was always... We've always looked at it as like a utility.
Yeah.
For if you're into gaming, like, buy your games anywhere, but you can play them through our service anywhere as well.
Yeah, you pay a subscription fee, and it basically gives you your PC games on the go.
And that seems to have worked for them.
Yeah. I think as well, we're talking about the amount of clout that like Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo have in the gaming industry. GeForce Now is Nvidia. They make the graphics cards. Like, there's three companies, major companies who make graphics cards. Intel, who've got brought out one generation of cards and they're being mixed reviews. And it's AMD versus NVIDIA.
Yep. It's the clout Google and Amazon should have had. And this is why, again, Atomic, Boostroid, Blacknote, I have no interest in them because I've never heard of them before. So why should I invest in this random cloud business when you just a random startup company I've never really heard of? Whereas NVIDIA, who can tout all of this actual legacy of being in video games. Yes, they don't make the games, but clearly they've carved out a niche.
They make the components that go in the servers, which then you play the games on.
They power them, yeah. And I think they've positioned themselves and they've marketed themselves very well to a point where they get a boon every time, like God of War comes out on PC, because guess what? You can stream it through GeForce Now. Or when a random indie game takes off on Steam, it's like, well, guess what? You can play it in the cloud using GeForce Now on your TV, on your tablet, on your Steam Deck.
And it is comparable in quality to Stadia and Luna.
Yeah, especially on that top tier.
Yeah, it's on the top tier of the hardware.
Yeah,
because, they can offer it. They own it.
And like I said, if there's a problem with the game, if there's a problem with the game, they go like, well, that's not us. We don't make the games. So it's almost like that middleman place where they can enjoy all the perks and benefits, but without all of the complications and the costs involved in developing and really promoting the game, quite frankly. So, and we've always said, Richie, if you have a big Steam library, if you're one of these people who've been buying games up in the Steam sale for decades now, you sound GFN and you're like, geez, I have a massive backlog that now I have access to on multiple more devices than I ever had. Let's go fill my boots.
10 years ago, I would have loved GeForce Now. But in that time, I switched back over to console gaming primarily, and my Steam library, while it is big, it's also big and old. Yeah. That there were games bought from my last PC, which my current PC is significantly more better than. So GeForce Now, in terms of playing here in my office, doesn't solve any problems.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't really have it, because it's not. I have a PC that can play everything in my Steam library, but I'm also not buying games on Steam very often. Yeah.
Again, like all the things we're discussing today, it's each to their own. Everyone has their own preference.
Yeah, that's it.
Some people will prefer a subscription model like Luna with games. Others will want GFN for their back catalogue or their accessibility. Others preferred Stadia for that. So it's a good mix. But then I guess to pivot, to wrap things up as well, over to the legacy platforms, which, let's face it, will probably be the biggest just by the legacy. So, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch,
and it's
all varying foots.
Three different
into cloud
stories
gaming.
Here, actually. I think let's go with Switch first, because I think it's just the quickest to cover. Nintendo seem to be experimenting with it in terms of bringing games that wouldn't play on the hardware over. But I still strongly suspect that in the current generation of Switches, that the networking facilities of that is not good enough for cloud gaming.
The hardware in the Nintendo Switch, I mean, the hardware in most Nintendo consoles is usually a generation behind.
And Nintendo have problems with their online services, full stop.
They don't have an infrastructure. Their infrastructure is terrible.
I think as well as hardware, it's like I've done speed tests through my own home network, and Nintendo is like, my PS4 is getting like 50 megabit per second through my network. Nintendo's worse.
Yeah.
Like when they were literally next to each other and wired. So it's like it's not a problem that can be resolved with the current hardware, in my opinion. This is one of the things for Switch Pro I want to see. I want to see better networking facilities. Just put a better network card in Nintendo, better Wi-Fi card. That's what you need to do for the next generation.
Yeah, it's an interesting one with Nintendo because they've had to lean into cloud because of the poor, or not necessarily poor, but older, weaker hardware compared to.
That could be a great compromise for Nintendo, though. It's like, you know what? We're not going to put like the top tier like cards and stuff that you'd expect from PlayStation and Microsoft. We are still going to do our own thing, but we're going to put a badass network card in there, and we're going to use cloud gaming to bridge the gap.
Yeah, like we've said so many times on various shows, like if Nintendo partnered with Google for their Stadia tech, I would play my Switch so much more because I would have access to way better games than the Switch is capable of running in the palm of my hand on a very appealing form factor and size device. That there are now 140 million of them in the wild.
portable gaming, it's making a resurgence. You look at things like the Steam Deck, like Razer are getting involved. What was the other one? Like these kind of like handheld
Logitech.
That's it. It was
Cloud,
Logitech. Yeah, like Nintendo already have that form factor.
Mm-hmm.
They also
And
have
they
a
nailed
dock. What they need is just literally a better network card.
Yeah, just
maybe
better
some more
hardware.
RAM potentially. We're
A
not
bit of
talking
everything.
like
Everything needs to step it up a little bit. 'Cause
everything in the
it's
Switch
getting
needs
on a bit now.
improving. But it doesn't need improving to the level of a PlayStation Xbox. You can use cloud to bridge the gap.
Yeah. So again, we said maybe the Stadia tech will live on, but I don't think Nintendo are down for making that kind of deal, which would be so good. I can see a future where it exists, but Nintendo do what Nintendo do, and we'll probably not see anything of merit for quite some time.
I really could see it'd be expensive, but if Nintendo bought the rights to that tech, like
that's not a Nintendo move, is it? Though buying, acquiring, sharing,
it could be like because Nintendo can be experimental at times. Like
I don't see it.
You look at things like the Wii. That was a roll of the dice, and it worked.
So is the Switch, arguably.
Yeah, I mean the Switch is. If you look at the Switch and what it is, it is what the Wii U should have been. But let's quickly talk about PlayStation, then we'll finish up with Xbox.
Similar to Nintendo, but thankfully PlayStation, obviously they've got the benefit of a really massive hardware chunk of technology that sits in a lot of people's living rooms that does everything. They've got the legacy, they've got the library, they've got the tech physically. They do the experiment into the VR world, but in terms of cloud, it's one of the pillars that they've kind of neglected. They committed to it a good few years back with purchasing, why can't I think of the name now? Gaikai, for a good, cool couple million. And they kind of was like, it runs PS3 games. That's it. And they don't appear to have really invested much in the infrastructure or expanding it or anything. And then that became PlayStation Plus, as we all know. PlayStation Now. And then now, because of the restructuring last year, that got folded into PlayStation Plus for premium members. And it's still just, it functions, it works.
The biggest problem is they don't seem to advertise what is and isn't in the cloud. And then you got things like, okay, the premium tier of PlayStation Plus gives you access to cloud gamings, but then they don't really tell you what is coming to the cloud. So it's like, it's kind of this nebulous, you have to get into the nitty gritty of the store to try and figure it out. They need to clean it up. They need to strengthen their approach and how they present this. And if it is just going to be, you know what, this is just for backwards compatibility, so things like the PS3 games you can just get over, then so be it. But it just feels a bit murky at the moment.
It needs to be tidied up because in today's world, with all of the stuff we've just said about cloud gaming and how well it can function, is if I'm buying God of War Ragnarok on my PS5, why can't I play that in the cloud? I bought the game, I own the game, I'm a premium member, I should have access to that game on any device that can stream it. Which, for Stadia, was anything. For Luna, it's anything. For GFN, it's anything. And yet,
for Xbox, it's PlayStation,
anything. Market leading, I can't play any PlayStation 5 games in the cloud because it just isn't a thing. And they haven't addressed it, they don't talk about it.
They have addressed it, they said they're not doing it.
The message is just messy. And it needs tidying up because I think, again, what we were saying about the Stadia and the Luna stuff, cloud gaming for PlayStation, clearly not their priority. I don't think they'll drive this market or this pillar of the industry at all.
I thought, to be honest, before Stadia, before Luna, before Xbox Cloud Gaming, that PS Now was dead. And it felt like very much they're pulling the nails out of the coffin. And now it's just like, we'll prop it up, we'll keep it alive, because if that's the direction it goes, we've got a thing there that we can iterate on. But they don't view it as a big part of the business going forward.
And that's a shame. But that's
it's there
Sony,
if they
Sony
need it
being
rather
stuck
than
in their
they
way.
want it.
Yeah.
So we'll finish up with Xbox. I think cloud gaming on Xbox is going to be a slow burn. But I think it will get there.
I think it's going to be slower now because of what Stadia and Luna are doing, or
less pressure.
Not doing. I we're already wiped the floor with PlayStation's cloud offering by the fact that how many games this year have you and me streamed day one through the cloud on Xbox. It's on Game Pass, we get the game. It's on cloud, we play the game. And even the back catalogue library, like we played Star Wars Battlefront 2, a 5-year-old game, through the cloud.
Yep.
Can't do that on Luna. Can't do that on Stadia. So again, it was like another outlet which we've been able to do. High on Life, one of the best games at the back end of this year.
Most successful Game Pass game.
Played it through the cloud. And that just, again, it's not what Microsoft push and market, but it exists, and it's there for nearly everything.
They kind of do push it a bit. They're not like massively vocal.
It's always like and cloud at the end. They talk about it.
Yeah, that's it though. It's and cloud.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that from PlayStation.
No.
And they have given it a bit of a push when they launched it. They have tied it into Xbox Cloud Gaming, into a Game Pass. They have talked about getting everything over eventually. And it's just like, you can see the direction it's going. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the service, it needs improving. Quality-wise, it's not as good as Stadia or Luna or GeForce Now.
No.
It's better than PlayStation Plus.
Yep.
And you do get these kind of weird scan lines, which you've probably seen in our streams. Like, go watch our streams if you don't already. But it feels like I'm more willing to give Microsoft the time because, again, I've got an Xbox. Game Pass is the best value in gaming. I'm not looking at Microsoft and going, your biggest problem is cloud. Your biggest problem is getting your first-party library in order, which I 100% believe you'll get sorted. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm excited for Xbox in the cloud. I think it's going to be... I still think it is... This generation is going to be like almost a consolidation thing. Get Game Pass ubiquitous, get the studios working on the new titles, get people excited about the first party lineup of Xbox, and the next generation of consoles, cloud will be a bigger thing for Microsoft. They're targeting 5 years down the line, where Stadia and Luna had to target now.
Yeah,
but Microsoft have Xboxes, so it's like they don't need to target it now.
Yeah, there's no rush, but they're doing a good enough job.
Yeah,
that gets them a pass for an extra add-on as an Xbox player. But I guess it always just goes back to that interesting thing where I think Phil Spencer actively talks about Xbox Cloud Gaming quite a lot during like interviews and forecasting for the future. He always says investing in servers and upgrading things and having the cloud native versions.
It's part of their roadmap for their business.
Yeah, and they have obviously their deals with Samsung to do with like if you buy a mobile phone, you get Game Pass and you get like a Razer Kishi included. If you buy a Samsung phone, it's on Samsung Smart TVs, Cloud Gaming. Yeah. It's like it's that, like you said, it's part of their business model. And the big ironic thing is, Richie, I think Phil Spencer spoke about cloud gaming more in the last 2 years than Phil Harrison has for Stadia.
Yeah, and Phil Spencer also has other stuff to talk about.
Yeah, he's a very busy, active man, but Phil Harrison, whatever the hell, I don't think he's even said anything since Stadia. Like, will he even come out near the end? Probably not. But
I think he's very much now low profile, get another job once Stadia's done, get another job at Google and just like
I should just retire.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Xbox, I think in the order of things, I think are probably winning.
I think GeForce now have the better tech right now. Luna have the better tech, but not in the UK. Xbox are winning for me because of the library. They
have the complete ecosystem, which is what they always speak about. It's having that ecosystem where you can jump from device to device. Everything's all-encompassing. It kind of ticks the subscription model with Game Pass, but remember, a la carte game purchases for cloud are coming in.
Yeah,
probably
I was
going
to mention that. This is one of the things they don't have yet, but they have said it's coming. They've announced it, so it's like, it's not there, but it's in the pipeline. I can wait.
Yeah, I could see Luna pivoting towards that as well.
I think they should.
I think they should as well. I think
they should
doesn't
launch
make
in the
any
UK
sense
as well.
Not. I mean, that is everything else. But I think for the future of cloud gaming, rest in peace, Stadia. Luna, you really need to make some moves this year. Yeah. GFN, just keep doing what you're doing. Basically,
you do.
Keep doing.
Yeah.
Sort out your queues on your other tiers. But other than
that,
I've
had a few things with queues recently.
Yeah.
Like, you need to get more servers, GFN. Like, get
all
rid
of the
queues.
Indie ones, your Atomic Boostroid, just keep chipping away. Hopefully you'll get bought out by a bigger company. Yeah. PlayStation, you need to do some serious management of what the hell your cloud offering even is, and at the same time look at your PlayStation Plus tiers because they're all a bit of a mess as well. Sort it out. Commit to the Game Pass model or do something different.
I don't mind the free tier thing for PlayStation Plus, but it's become a bit murky. Like, it needs to be crystal clear what you're getting in each tier. So for me to go, why should I pay for the higher tier? Because they should want me to go for the top tier.
But why?
So you need to explain what I'm getting that I wouldn't get on the middle tier.
Well, I say you get cloud gaming, but you don't get the latest games on it. So,
but they don't tell you
what's
about
the point? Yeah, well, yeah, that too.
Like,
Nintendo, you need a new hardware first before you probably push cloud anymore, because the Resident Evil cloud versions were trash. Yeah.
Switch Pro, Nintendo Switch Pro this year alongside Zelda. Give it some more RAM, maybe better graphics card. Like give it. Upgrade everything, but make sure you got absolute kick-ass wireless in there. I want to see 200 megabit per second through my Switch.
Yep. And Xbox, keep doing what you're doing. Just get rid of them scan lines, please. And finally, Apple, where you at? Where you at, Apple? Where you at, Apple? They've got some up their sleeve. I'm telling you.
They will.
There's another big player going to enter the cloud gaming market. Will they succeed?
You know
Who
what?
knows?
Stadia's
but Apple are the last one.
Stadia's Death might have put Apple like slow things down.
Maybe, or maybe that's now the gap they can get into.
Yeah.
But
that's all we have time for this week. If you've liked the video, hit that like button and consider becoming a member for as little as 99 pence, where you can get early access to this very show, along with priority questions and things like ClickerCast. Perhaps if we decide to go that way, we are doing that live, so we're going to make it open to your questions. You usually get early access to Talk on the PS as well, custom emojis and stickers and badges and all that great stuff in our live streams. If you've got a topic you want us to discuss, let us know in the comments of this video or in our Discord server. The link is in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Richie.
I've been Chris.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. 100 episodes.
Way, 100 episodes.
Don't eat mince pies.
Eat mince pies, they're good.